Hello, the purpose of this video is to take a look at a workaround that I decided to use to sum up two tables worth of cells across different sheets within Smartsheets. Clarify a little bit more of what I mean by this. What I want to do is I want to take sheet A and sheet B to sum up to sheet C. When I came across this problem, a lot of solutions I was seeing was to create row reports and have it create sums. However, I still want to see the results, sheet C, in the same exact table format as both sheet A and B. If I had foreseen this as a problem, I would have created one huge sheet C where I could just sum up different columns. However, I already have sheet A and sheet B, which exist. The tables are exactly the same formats. However, the criteria are different. And that criteria is pulling from a source sheet that has much more information. Now, what I'm trying to have it do is to see column and cell match it so it can show, for example, 5 plus 6 equals 11 in the same exact table formula. So we're going to take a look at how I'm doing a workaround in order to make this work for the system that I already have existing. Privacy, I'm going to be blocking out my column headers as well as my first column to designate what each row means. However, that won't change much. So one more time, I have sheet A, which already exists, pulling in certain information, B, which already exists, and I've already laid out my sheet C to mimic pre-existing information. My first column is an exact match to sheet A and sheet B. My column headers are exact matches to the sum of sheet A and B. So for example, sheet A has fewer columns than sheet B, however, they do overlap. My sheet C is a combination of the two. This is the workaround that I was able to find. What I did instead is I created helper columns. I created columns to match sheet A, and I created columns to match sheet B. The columns are blank. You can see I've already done this next step here, but we'll do it for sheet 2. We're going to go in and do cell link from other sheet. We're going to be pulling this in from sheet 2. And you're going to grab the columns, the full columns, and create those links. Notice when you grab the full columns, it maps out the complete match for your entire sheet. Okay. Now it takes a moment for this information to pull in. You're going to want to hit save and refresh. So something to know that you must make sure that the order of your columns is an exact match to the order of the columns on your sheet. Now what I'm able to do is I can take my cell and I can now say equals the cell from sheet 1 plus the cell matching from sheet 2 plus that one additional piece of criteria I have over here equals, now let me convert it to a column formula. There's a couple things that we can do to kind of keep this a little bit more clean and navigatable. One thing is I do like to put visual separators Visual separators should have the following format. I then use black dump. I learned this trick to use visual separators for these massive sheets at Engage last year. Engage was fantastic. I'm a bit bummed I can't go this year, but that is okay. Now that I have my full table filled out, you can see here I have the first chunk, the whole table now has all the formulas needed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide all of my helper columns. No one else really needs to even know that these exist. So let's go ahead and hide. Now my system looks very clean. Again, if I had predicted that this was going to be a problem before sheet A and sheet B had been created, I probably would have cleaned that up into one solid sheet with the necessary pivots off of that instead. However, this works for our needs. People won't really know what's going on in the background. That said, because it is a little bit more complex, if more columns in sheet A need to be added that were not there before, then the next person will need to know how this is happening in the background. So, of course, it's always important to write out your mapping and to create instructions for the next person or for future use and longevity and scalability. I hope this helps. Thank you so much for your time. Again, my name is Victoria. I'm a Smartsheet architect and business analyst. I would love to hear from you or connect on LinkedIn. Thank you.